You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Tutuzile Ramela. Here are the stories we're tracking for you on this Monday evening. Cricket South Africa issues a no-nonsense 2-decade ban for Gulam Bodi. Rain brings relief after a night of fire at Cape St. Francis. And of course, you can have a say on any of our stories. Do find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct, using our hashtags Gulam Bodi and St. Francis. And we start with the Gulam Bodi story. Match fixing doesn't pay. That's a strong message from Cricket South Africa and a 20-year ban for former Proteas batsman Gulam Bodi. Bodi is the first casualty in the Ramslam T20 corruption probe. The raging inferno that engulfed a nature reserve near Cape St. Francis on Sunday night has been extinguished. Quick action from firefighters and a little help from the heavens in the form of quenching rain averted what could have been a much more serious fire. 8 houses were damaged as 60-meter-high flames engulfed the area during the night. Now, in 2012, 76 houses were destroyed in the area by fires. Police are investigating a case of arson. Residents believe the blaze was started by drunk revelers who fired a flare. The state has filed affidavits opposing Oscar Pistorius' appeal to overturn his murder conviction in the Constitutional Court. The country's prosecution's authority says the court should not hear the appeal as the Paralympian has no chance of success.
The NPA says Oscar Pistorius' appeal arguments are without merit and contrived. It is adamant that the Supreme Court of Appeal made the correct decision in upgrading the culpable homicide conviction to murder. Pistorius' lawyers claim the appeal court unfairly discriminated against him. That's according to the papers he's filed in the Constitutional Court. The NPA has rubbished arguments by Pistorius' lawyers that the appeal court exceeded its jurisdiction in convicting him of murder, adding that the Constitutional Court should not hear the appeal.
Made in favour of the state on certain issues.
Last month, the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned the athlete's culpable homicide conviction to murder. The state says there's no credible explanation from Pistorius for the killing of Reeva Steenkamp on 14th February 2013, and it's in the interests of justice that he is sentenced for murder. Legal experts say the chances of Pistorius' appeal to succeed are slim. If the Constitutional Court dismisses the appeal, the Blade Runner will have exhausted all his legal options.
No prizes for guessing the DA's top candidate for Cape Town mayor. Incumbent Patricia de Lille beat 5 others in an internal vote to clinch the nomination. Democratic Alliance leader Mmusi Maimane made the announcement this afternoon.
Patricia de Lille has been vying for a second term as Cape Town mayor. As the party gets its campaign for the 2016 local government elections into full swing, leader Mmusi Maimane says de Lille is the right candidate for the job.
Under her guidance, more Cape Townians have been able to find work. That in fact, of the 1.4 million Cape Townians employed, 80.89% are employed in the formal sector.
De Lille wasted no time in laying out her plans for the city for the next 5 years.
We will no longer put poor people miles and miles away from work opportunities. We are now building density, especially close to transport routes, because it's unfair. The poor spend more than 30% of their money on just transport.
But the day was not without controversy. Attention turned to the DA councillor Sam Pienaar and his alleged involvement in the Trojan massacre that claimed the lives of 3 youths over 30 years ago. Pienaar was serving as a South African National Defence Force colonel and is alleged to have been involved in the planning of the massacre. De Lille says the party is taking action against him for misleading the DA by failing to disclose his alleged involvement. The DA also rubbished claims by former parliamentary leader Lindwe Mazibuko that it's dominated by a group of white men. Bonga Dlulane, Cape Town.
Now, water meters are highly prized items for Johannesburg thieves. Last year alone, Joburg Water spent 7 million rand replacing stolen units. And just as copper cable thieves hit one area at a time, it seems the water meter gangs do the same. City authorities are now installing plastic meters to stop the theft.
Clean and usable water going down the drain. That's because the brass meter that's part of the contraption installed to regulate the water flow has been stolen. This community east of Johannesburg has had many cases like this.
When they hit a street, they were hitting 10 at a time. So for 6 weeks, I had an average of 20 meters running like this in Bez Valley.
While they wait for officials to replace the stolen brass meters, residents often have to find other ways to stop the water from running down the streets. Some go as far as concealing the sought-after units, or like these residents, install a plastic meter.
Around 2 to 3 in the morning, that's the normal time that they do steal it. It's a matter of minutes and it's gone, and then they just leave it lying.
The theft problem is, however, not unique to Bez Valley. Joburg Water cites Melville, Auckland Park, Westdene, Eldorado Park, Darfontein, Annandale, Parktown and Bramley as some of the hotspots.
Last year, just more than 5.8 thousand meters were stolen within the city of Johannesburg, and that costed us just more than 7 million rands.
Officials say there are still about 100,000 old meters installed in various parts of the city, and there's currently a process in place to replace them. Malungelo Pui, Johannesburg.
Let's take a quick look at world news now, and the Save the Children charity has warned that Ethiopia is facing its worst drought in 50 years. Over 10 million people are currently going hungry. The warning comes as leaders arrive in Addis Ababa for the 26th African Union Summit. Now, Save the Children has ranked just 2 global humanitarian crises at its highest level of emergency: the drought in Ethiopia and the ongoing war in Syria. A massive cleanup is underway across the eastern United States after a weekend snowstorm paralyzed many cities. Near-record snowfall swept from Washington, D.C. to New York City, with at least 29 deaths reported since Friday. In the capital, federal government offices and public schools remain shut. Some cities asked residents to use public transport instead of cars, with roads being cleared by snowplows. Airports were offering limited services after the cancellation of nearly 12,000 flights over the weekend. Gareth Edwards joins me now to take a look at what's happening on social media. Mondays are tough enough, Gareth, and it just got a whole lot tougher for Jimmy Tao.
Yeah, it is, and the sad part of social media is it's not to take away from what Jimmy Tao is busy dealing with, but the Twitterati always having their say on this. The 2 big trends today were about sport, but not for results or performances. Take a look at this. The #1 hashtag today was Jimmy Tao, but it was more about his fiancée, who seems to have been caught in an offside position after apparently being found in the arms of DJ Bandile. Twitter wondering if Jimmy is going to get the money back for the bola. So that's the #1 trend. And this man, Gulam Bodi, the former international cricketer, has been banned from the sport for 20 years earlier today after he admitted to charges of contriving or attempting to fix matches in last year's Ram Slam T20 competition. Some users on social media asking, where are the criminal charges? You can get more of those stories on our Twitter and Facebook accounts. Just look for @eNews Direct if you are on social media. Also, if you've missed anything on eNews Direct, every single evening on eNews or enca.com/direct, you can go and watch the entire show over and over again.